My name is Gustavo, and today we're interviewing Becka Noel, who is going to share with us what it takes to be a cosplayer.
Well, I've been dressing up since I was born. but when I was at Pratt, I studied fine arts, and I also participated in the fashion shows, which kind of like spurred, or like that's where my creative like fashion was born. Um, and then one year I went to New York Comic Con with my fiance, and I got there and I saw everybody in costumes, and I was so sad that I wasn't in one too. So the next year I made a costume out of duct tape, and that was it. The first event I cosplayed at was New York Comic Con, and like I said, I like had a week to make my costume. I made an Arkham Asylum Harley Quinn entirely out of duct tape. So I mean, you can do a lot of things with duct tape. I made it I just like made the fabric out of duct tape, and then I cut it and put it together and pieced the rest of the outfit together. But like everything was made out of duct tape, including the boots. I decided on Harley because my one of my good friends wanted to dress up as Poison Ivy and Harley for Halloween. So I was like, sure, I'll do that. Plus, I really liked the character of Harley, so it worked out well. So I decided on my next cosplay based on a few different things. It has to be something I'm really passionate about. I really have to feel connected with the character, and I always have my fiance telling me also that it needs to be something that's also going to be popular with people, that will be recognizable. So I mean, sometimes I'll do things that I do as quote unquote fan service, but it has to be something I feel passionate about. Like I won't do something I don't like just to make it. And I love World of Warcraft and League of Legends. I'm a big gamer, so anything in that realm. I'm about to do some Assassin's Creed stuff, so I'm really excited about that. I'm newly into comics. I just started reading comics a few years ago. I've always been into DC and Marvel characters, but I'm like a lifetime gamer. I'm much more of a gamer than comics. The length of time for making a cosplay really depends on what it is. I've made costumes anywhere from a week. The first costume I made for my fiance was a week long to 6 months. So, and also depending on like when a convention is. I've gotten a little faster. When I first started, it took me months to make something, and now, like on average, I'd say about a month and a half. Money, money and cosplay. I am always budgeting, and that also is based on like what I'm making and what materials I'm making the costume out of. I tend to work a lot with Worbla, which is more on the pricey side. I also use EVA foam, which is a little bit cheaper. Um, my most expensive costume was my blue Viennetta, which is a costume based on an artist, Japanese artist named Sakizo. And that costume, the materials alone were over $1,000, and I don't even know how many hours I put into it. It's crazy. But probably on average, I'd say about $600 per costume. For materials, I really gravitate toward Worbla, which is thermoplastic. It comes in like big sheets, and you heat it up and you can form it into different shapes. You can also squish it together and mold it like clay. It's a very versatile material. There's another thermoplastic called Wonderflex, which behaves about the same way. It's slightly different. Um, so thermoplastics I use a lot. I also use foams, spray foam, EVA foam, craft foam, pink insulation to carve out of. Uh, yeah, and we're always trying out new materials and trying to figure out like what works better for what or whatever we're making. Well, we always go to New York Comic Con since we're based in New York. Um, one of my favorite conventions is C2E2 in Chicago, and I like that one a lot because it's very similar to New York Comic Con. It's a pop culture convention and comic convention, so it's got the same like feeling, but it's a little bit smaller than New York Comic Con is, which in my opinion is getting crazy. It's getting very hard to do a lot of things, and I don't have to like base my cosplay off of. I wonder if this person's gonna like bump into me and like hit me or you know. So it's just a lot of fun. Every time I go to that one, it's a lot of fun. And then another one I really love is Katsucon in Maryland. It's an anime convention, but it's basically just for cosplayers. So you go and like everybody's in a costume, and it's really, really great craftsmanship there. So I can go and like I really appreciate everything I'm looking at, and it's just a good time. I have. I did the C2E2 Crown Championship of Cosplay, which is the same contest that's associated with the championship cosplay competition that was just at New York Comic Con, which I just forgot the name of. But I I wore Red Riding Hood in that, and I placed second in my category, so that was very exciting. And then I did another contest with my fiance at Denver, and we got first in our category, which again was awesome. And then I just decided that I was kind of done with contests after that. They're a lot of fun. The best part about them is meeting the people backstage and talking to other cosplayers and like talking about how you made your costume and socializing. That's really the best part. I think that my favorite cosplay is Red Riding Hood. It was the very first armor build I ever made, and it's based off of some art that I found online by this girl Amanda who does amazing, amazing work. And I was looking for a fairy tale character. I came across it and I fell in love with it and I made it, and it's like I feel like a total badass when I'm wearing. I'm actually wearing the sword. um, but she's like got a lot of armor and she has this big red cape and she's like all bloody, like she just came out of this badass battle. So yeah, I don't know. I really like that one. And probably the one I'm most proud of craftsmanship wise is my Sakizo, because it was totally out of my element. It was all sewn. The first thing I ever really sewed, and I learned a lot of different techniques making it, and I really took my time with it, and it's just really elaborate and lovely and girly, which I'm totally not. uh, those two, those are my favorites.